I represent a company called Hashtag Consulting. Well, as far as the agenda is concerned, I will be taking up these key points in my presentation, which is basically a short introduction about what digital transformation is all about, what thought leaders are saying, challenges in DX, how to solve those challenges in DX, why DX projects fail, reimagining DX, the four pillars that we talk about, why DX for business growth and optimization, envisioning digital transformation as a service, which we also call as DX AAS, importance of DX in the times of recession that we are going through, just like now, and finally case studies, some important case studies, right? So I'd like to move on to the first slide, basically, which talks about the introduction. So the digital transformation phenomenon that we are seeing right now is a part of the Industrial Revolution 4.0, okay, which is really a revolution because we had the Industrial Revolution and, we had those different revolutions in between industrial revolutions, but now we are in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0. And the Industrial Revolution 4.0, also called Iyer 4.0, is closely linked with a digital transformation because a lot of the changes in transformations that are happening under Industrial Revolution 4.0 are because of digital transformation. So as you can see in the figures down here, globally, I mean, digital transformation is a massive industry valued at approximately 998, almost 1,000 billion in 2020, and is expected to reach a value of about 2,744 billion by 2026 at an average compounded average growth rate of 17.42, right? When it comes to the growth of digital transformation around the world, IMARC, which is one of the large market research companies out there, they have basically seen that it's slated to grow at about 20% during 2021-26. So there is a lot of potential and demand for digital transformation, as these figures support, as these figures indicate. But obviously, the key challenge here is to ensure how we can implement digital transformation effectively, right? So that's the reason we are talking about, what different leaders are talking about in terms of digital transformation. So here I have a few quotes. So we have here John Chambers from Cisco, who says that at least 40% of all businesses will die in the next 10 years if they don't figure out how to change the entire company to accommodate new technologies, right? This comes from John Chambers. And then we have another quote from Brian Solis, who is a leader in the digital transformation space. And he says digital transformation is more about humans than digital, right? I think I basically missed one, which is, sorry. So this is a very interesting quote from George Westerman, who is a research scientist with the MIT Sloan Initiative on the Digital Economy. And he says, when digital transformation is done right, it's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. But when done wrong, all you have is really a fast caterpillar, right? And this is a very interesting statement because it goes to show that obviously digital transformation is not easy. It is filled with a lot of challenges. And that's why most companies who try to implement digital transformation are not really very successful, right? So here when we talk about challenges in DX, so despite the huge demand of digital transformation, the reality is that as much as 84% of all digital transformation projects fail, right? According to Forbes, 84% of all digital transformation projects fail due to failed adoption of technology. But apart from adoption issues, of course, such projects also fail due to, wrong selection of solutions, weak business process understanding, incorrect requirement gathering, shabby implementations, poor change management, weak program management, and no quality assurance, of course, right? And hence, what you need to do is what you need is not just a DX implementation partner, but an unbiased 360-degree DX specialist firm who can support in consulting, strategy, implementation, and support. And that's where a company like hashtags really gains prominence, right? Here we talk about different kinds of, solutions that could be probably looked at to address the challenges in the DX space. So one is, of course, we need a clear strategy development. We need an agile implementation approach. And the reason an agile implementation approach is so important is because most traditional projects of digital transformation who follow a traditional methodology get extended for years. Timelines are very difficult to adhere to when it comes to digital transformation projects, and hence it's very important that we have a very agile implementation approach where we are time bound in our approach, and we need to make sure that these projects are completed based on clear milestones and based on clear deliverables or KPIs, right? Also, cross-functional collaboration becomes very important in this context. Data-driven decision-making is also very important because we need to see what we are getting out of the system and what kind of decisions we are able to take based on the implementation. And of course, there is continuous learning and adaptation, right? Well, this is a very important slide that talks about, a certain J curve that is seen in almost every digital transformation project that we engage in. And, the crux of this graph is basically that the typical graph of a digital transformation implementation project is like a J curve, or it's more like a hockey stick, right? And most transformation projects fail for a reason or a combination of reasons. One of them is that transformation is painful and it takes time, right? People are resistant to change, and transformation is preceded by resistance and chaos. And mostly people and organizations fail to manage this dip quite well. So as I said earlier, it's a J curve, it's a hockey stick curve. And at the bottom of the curve, obviously we have a period of disruption. As you can see, please notice that chaos takes place between resistance and transformation. And this is a sweet spot for us to innovate and produce compelling results, right? So when the period of disruption comes in, it's very important that all digital transformation projects get the right handholding and support from the advisory company or from the partner company, so that this disruptive period can be well handled, so that there is then no resistance from the company which is adopting these technologies or these practices, so that the implementation then goes up to a point of success and real transformation takes place, right? Well, in terms of the four pillars that I wanted to talk about, so here we're talking about different layers of or different pillars of digital transformation. It is normally thought that digital transformation is all about digital technologies, which is far from the truth. The fact is that digital transformation is also about process transformation. It is also about, of course, technology transformation, but also it has to do a lot with marketing and sales transformation, because that's the angle from which you basically increase your sales and revenues, which is a very important component of any business transformation project, right? And then, of course, the foundation layer is the people transformation, because, of course, you have this process transformation and the technology transformation and the marketing and sales transformation going on, but the foundational pillar on which everything else is working is the people transformation. So that's the reason why people in the organization need to be really trained, educated, and transformed before you can enable other kinds of transformation, like the process transformation or the technology transformation, because behind all these other transformation, it's the people behind these processes who are really driving that transformation, right? Now, why DX for business growth and optimization? Well, for a few reasons. One, it enables supply chain optimization. It drives cost optimization. It allows agile decision making to happen. It also helps us build competitive strategies, and it helps us arrive at data-driven decisions, right? So these are some of the advantages of why DX is important for business growth and optimization. Well, we all know about software as a service. We also know about platform as a service. But now there is a new concept which has emerged, which is digital transformation as a service, right? And the crux of this concept is that we are offering digital transformation, on the cloud. And the reason is because these solutions need to be scalable. They need to have end-to-end integration. Of course, they need the support of expert consultation and continuous innovation, cost efficiency, and the focus on core competencies. And unless we really have all of these parameters addressed, we really can't talk about digital transformation as a service, as a concept, right? Now, we are obviously going through a recessionary period, as we can see. I mean, worldwide, there is a lot of turbulence in the economies, in different economies. And this is a period where a lot of companies actually think whether digital transformation has to be really implemented. The question is not if, the question is now, more when. And the answer is right now, because in the past, digital transformation was looked upon more as a luxury. Today, it's a necessity, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. And more companies are realizing that without digital transformation, it'll be very difficult for them to survive and thrive in this kind of competitive environment, which is really a VUCA kind of environment. And when I talk about VUCA, I'm talking about volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So in these kind of VUCA times, where recession is rampant, it's very important that we talk about efficient resource allocation, agile business operations, enhanced customer management or engagement, remote work possibilities, and also the capabilities required by a data-driven kind of a company, which means that your data is now going to be the real source behind your capabilities. And so it's very important that you have data-informed decision-making at the top of your agenda, right? So as you can rightly see in the quote, it says it's not only an anti-crisis measure, but it's also an anti-recession measure, right? A few case studies here that I would like to probably take up just to wrap up this presentation. So one is that, we have seen that there are a lot of companies who are engaging in digital transformation. Some of them are big, some of them are not so big. But the key is that all companies of this size are understanding that digital transformation would be the future to gain competitive advantage in the marketplace, right? So here we talk about three different case studies. One is IKEA, the other is Microsoft, and the other is Nike. IKEA, Microsoft, and Nike. And so basically, I will talk a few lines about how IKEA and Microsoft and Nike have basically enabled digital transformation within their companies. So if you look at IKEA basically dominates the furniture industry. The company has done this by adapting to new working practices. Their digital adoption strategy has recently helped them keep their competitive advantage over other companies. And IKEA's stores used to be very different from an e-commerce platform. But when they started to prioritize the digital side of their business, online sales tripled, right? Their brick and mortar stores now act more like fulfillment centers than retail outlets. Even within the stores in selected countries, customers can now pay for their purchases without going through the checkout. Underneath the customer experience, the company quietly revised its supply chain systems. And it was only possible to change. It was only possible to change one process, right? The example of IKEA shows how a full digital transformation process can help a company to stay relevant in these difficult times. To talk about Microsoft. Microsoft has been, of course, a leader in the software innovation space since the dawn of the home computing era. And in the late 1980s, when they started their operations, they were not such a big company. They were not really so competitive. But faced with the advent of cloud-based software systems in the early 2000s, their long-established distribution model suddenly seemed outdated, right? And their digital strategy was to completely overhaul their delivery systems using their proprietary cloud solution. They launched a Microsoft Azure in 2008, And after Azure was launched, they have now become the second biggest cloud provider in the world, providing a vast range of digital services for individuals and companies of all sizes. As market leaders, Microsoft basically could have chosen to behave like Blockbuster Video. Instead, they made a shrewd decision to completely update their digital strategy. Without that radical change program, they could have already been forgotten. But because they took digital transformation in their stride and really implemented these kind of systems, they were able to emerge as market leaders once again. Um, as far as Nike is concerned, Nike, the global software leader, of course, showcases the excellent results that digital transformation initiatives can create. They now focus on becoming a robust direct-to-customer brand, reducing their retail partnerships, and increasing their work to create online sales. Programs like Nike Training Club collect detailed consumer data and uses advanced analytics to make sense of the patterns. Smaller physical stores now do a lot of work to promote the Nike brand. Behind the scenes, they use headless, commerce to develop multiple online sales channels with particular expansion to mobile apps and technology. And if you look at IKEA, Nike and IKEA are a little bit similar in the sense that Nike, like IKEA, Nike has dominated their market section for a long time. And their success in digital transformation means that they will continue to dominate. Instead of sticking with what they know, they have taken risks that have really paid off. That's about it. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to speak on this topic. I'm open to any questions that any of you may have. So I invite any of you to ask any questions that might be there. Thank you.